What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda. It is the 1st of February. The January transfer window has slammed shut, and Jurgen Klopp knows that the squad he has at his disposal now will be the squad that he has to use for the remainder of the current campaign. It's been a bit of a crazy transfer window all around. In total, since the summer, I think Nottingham Forest have signed 29 players. Chelsea have splashed over £600 million. They have obviously amortised those contracts over 8 years to make sure that they don't fall foul of FFP regulations. But us Liverpool fans have been left feeling grateful, obviously, for the signing of Cody Gakpo, but somewhat frustrated at the lack of a midfield signing. And a lot of people have wondered why we haven't spent money. Me and many others have blamed the owners. Some have blamed Jurgen on trusting the players too much. But wherever you lay blame, I want to just highlight a really good article today from David Lynch. I read it on the This Is Anfield site. I know Mo Chatra of Anfield Index, many others have been highlighting this piece all day. I would definitely urge you to go and have a read of it. But I'm going to just take a few segments out of it and tell you why I think we need more journalists like David Lynch who aren't afraid to call out FSG for what is clearly just an unwillingness and not an inability to spend, just an unwillingness to spend. And I understand, look, it is a difficult position for some journalists to be in. They worry perhaps that if they ask too many poking or probing questions, that they could be reprimanded, that they could have less and less access. But that isn't really a situation that's conducive to journalists being able to do their job properly. So every so often you do get a journalist here like David Lynch who does call stuff out. And I'm very grateful for it. And I would definitely urge you all to go and read this and shout out massively to David Lynch for this piece. So, one of the first things David Lynch has said, and look, you know, at this point, folks, hit the subscribe button, drop a like on the video, and do let me know your thoughts on the subject we're speaking about. Clues as to FSG's true intentions can also be found in the club's most recently published accounts, which appear to show debt repaying being prioritised over cash available for transfers. If this were an ownership group committed to the long term, this would not be happening, and this reality only spells out how utterly vital it is that Liverpool's future is resolved as soon as possible. So it's not that we hadn't got the access to money, it's that they chose to repay down their own loans first and prioritise that over squad development. So what David Lynch has said in this piece here is basically that the loan that FSG provided to Liverpool to build a main stand, I think he does go through it in more specifics with regards to what's owed and stuff like that later on, or if he doesn't, somebody on the Athletic or somewhere else. I've seen the numbers anyway, but they don't really matter at this moment in time. The point here is that it isn't an inability for Liverpool to spend money, it's an unwillingness to, because it looks like, as per my thoughts and many others and David Lynch's, that they aren't preparing to sell off part of it. They are preparing to sell off all of it, and they're doing that by taking back as much of their own money as possible that they've loaned to the club, rather than give that money to Jurgen Klopp to go out there and make midfield signings. Now, as I said, Forest, 29 players in 2 windows. Nobody was expecting that from Liverpool. That, quite frankly, is madness in my opinion. But what Todd Bowley and Chelsea have done, even the likes of what Spurs have done, has kind of left us Liverpool fans feeling frustrated, because if an owner truly had an intent to want to be successful, he wouldn't look at a club languishing 9th in the Premier League, or they wouldn't look at a club languishing 9th in the Premier League and not invest and not put back in. Now look, I do understand that Jurgen Klopp doesn't like to take numbers 2, 3, 4, whatever on his list. But one of the things that I've seen thrown around today, and I believe it was from James Pearce, who again I hold in high regard, but I disagree with him on this point. He spoke about Arlian Tchouameni and how Liverpool and FSG were willing to fund that move, and he spoke about it being one that Liverpool would like to have done in the summer. In my understanding, Liverpool were told in January of last year where Tchouameni's priorities were and where he wanted to go. So I don't like that as an excuse, because we still had 6 months after that to find a replacement or to find an alternative. And it is no debate anymore about whether Liverpool needed midfield reinforcements. The only debate now is to why we didn't get them. So as I've said, David Lynch has written a fantastic piece, And I want to just take you through a few more sections of it if I can. Clearly, the Reds do not desperately need new owners willing to facilitate a Chelsea-style summer spend, the potential downsides of which have barely been discussed in recent reporting. And again, that's something else I massively credit David Lynch for, because a lot of us have been left scratching our heads going, how on earth can Chelsea have had a previous owner who lost over 19 years at the club, an average of £900,000 a week? That's all just written off, tickety-boo. Then Todd Bowley comes in, he dropped 600 million plus in 2 transfer windows, and we're all sitting around scratching our head going, how is this possible? How have they circumvented FFP? Or is there even FFP anymore? Is it being enforced? Another thing that really annoys me right now is that we've seen Manchester City being investigated, I believe, for almost 4.5 years by the Premier League. When are they going to do anything? Or when are they going to at least release their findings? Anyway, he said, nor do they need a wealthy benefactor to pump funds in through questionable sponsorship deals in order to evade FFP to boost their transfer outlay. Again, all pointing to an indication that Liverpool is in a very healthy position. We are in absolutely no danger of hitting any FFP problems because we've been well managed from that regard. But there's a difference between being well managed and being a cheapskate. And right now, in the last couple of seasons, they've definitely been cheapskates. And that's because, in my opinion, and in David's opinion, I guess, the club are being prepared for a full sale. Now, he goes on to say, rather, Liverpool simply only need to shake off the burden of infrastructure project costs inexplicably paid for through short-term debt. So again, look at the wording that David's chosen to use there. Inexplicably paid for through short-term debt, as well as the current owner's desire to keep operational debt at a minimum. Again, because they want big money when they sell up. And I do agree with David. I think that they are looking for a full sale here. But who that owner is and when they come, I guess is what, again, we Liverpool fans don't know at this moment in time. These ongoing restrictions on spending are why it's only fair for fans to be sceptical that, should FSG remain in post this coming summer, Klopp will not be given the rebuild he needs. And that is the fear of, I think, all of us. No matter what side of this FSG debate you're on, I hope that none of you believe that Jurgen Klopp suddenly just going to be given 250 million quid by FSG. It is pie in the sky stuff, to say the least. The only way Klopp gets that money is if they go bye-bye. So at this point, we need to really push the issue. Now, massive shout out to thisanfield.com, where you can read that full article from David Lynch. And again, huge credit to David Lynch for writing it. But be under no misillusions, or no misconceptions, I should say. FSG are right now purposely denying Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool Football Club the transfers that we need to compete. They are willing to write this season off, it seems, in order to prepare for a sale. And remember, they have seen the value of the football club in the last 2 years alone increase by over £500 million. That's by them just sitting over in Boston. So they feel there is still cash to be wrung out of this club. And it's up to us to try and convince as many people as possible that it is time for FSG to end their association with the football club, to sell up and to give us to an owner who are willing to put their money where their mouth is and act. And we're not looking sugar daddies. We're just talking about what Liverpool Football Club can actually afford to do. Over to you. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know if you've read this excellent piece from David Lynch. And again, I do thank you for your time. But we do have to keep pushing on with this issue, because it's over to us. We have to be loud. We have to be vocal. We have to be let it known that we aren't idiots, that we do understand what's going on, and we can see it as clear as day. And to any top Reds out there that are still telling us all that we're ungrateful and whatever, I don't know what you want anymore. I don't know what you want for this football club. Do you want it to be successful, or are you happy to just be a means for FSG to top up their pensions and to increase their value? Because make no bones about it, at this moment in time, they still feel there's more money to be taken out of this club, more value to be extracted, and that's the only reason they're still here. That's my take. Over to you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.